So sometimes in astrology there can be really strong aspects that show up. And what is an aspect? An aspect is when the planets come into a certain formation or geometric kind of pattern that creates either a harmony among those planets or a tension. So, for example, you can have, if planets are in the same element, then you're going to have like a harmony, and those planets will be having a conversation, and that conversation will be going well. You can also have planets that are in the same modality, meaning they're all fixed planets, and that creates a square, right? Which is a tension. Or you can have where you have opposites, like a full moon, for example. The sun is in Leo, the moon is in Aquarius, and there's an opposition is what it's called. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this full moon yesterday was very intense. It was very intense for me personally. But we all might have felt some intensity with it, right? Because you had the sun and the moon were at about 11 degrees of Leo and Aquarius. In order for the moon to be full, it has to be opposite the sun. So you had the sun in Leo at 11 degrees. You had the full moon in Aquarius at 11 degrees. And then you had Uranus over in Taurus at about 10 degrees. So that is creating what's called a T-square in the sky. So if you have a fixed signature in your chart, if you have any planet that's at about 10 degrees of any of the fixed signs, so the fixed signs are Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, or Taurus. If you have any planet at about 10 degrees, 11 degrees, 12 degrees, you may have felt this particular full moon a little more than most, right? I know for me, I have my sun at 12 degrees of Scorpio, and so I had Taurus opposing it, the Uranus and Taurus opposing it, at the same time that I had the sun and the moon squaring it, right? So that would actually be a grand fixed cross showing up in my chart through transit, right? So the aspects are especially significant. You want to look at those not only in the birth chart, but as the planets are orbiting around, they're coming into relationship with your natal planets, and in doing that, it can be like a trigger transit or like a spark that kind of sets off a whole pattern in your chart, or it'll build up to it, right? I had a experience where it was like this situation was building, and then I got into that full moon energy, and my 12th house sun in Scorpio was like, okay, retreat. Forget all the Leo stuff. I don't care. I'm in charge of this whole show here, and I want you to retreat. And I did. So there's a part of you that can honor the natal part of you and the transits that are happening at the same time. So if you would like to find out more about your transits, feel free to reach out or DM me. And for anyone who's got fixed sign planets, I'd be curious to know, how was this full moon for you? It was very intense for me. So I'd love to hear from you, and with that, I wish you well. Namaste.